Welcome back, boys and girls, to another edition of Joe Knows Stuff TV. Today's episode is going to be on ContentAware Fill. What the heck is that? Well, for one thing, it's in Photoshop and not Lightroom, but we're going to start out in Lightroom. Remember yesterday's lesson was of this Pano HDR photo that we did. I'll put a link at the end of the video if you haven't seen it. Let's hit the F key and bring it up full screen. Now, this photograph is amazing. Good reflection in the water, good texture, beautiful tree, beautiful leading line. But what's different? What's funky? What needs to go? That's this old trailer and this barren spot. That's where ContentAware Fill comes in, and that's what AdobeJoe is going to teach you today using Adobe Photoshop. Go to intro. Alright, welcome back, boys and girls. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to get rid of this trailer and this space here using ContentAware Fill, and I'm going to show you how to use the clone tool, or some call it the stamp tool. So let's jump right in. First of all, you're going to need Adobe Photoshop for this. So you're going to go to right click on the photograph you want to edit in Photoshop, go to Edit In, and you can also use other applications. Edit in Adobe Photoshop 2020. It's going to take a couple of seconds to pull it up, so let's go to pause. Alright, we're back in Photoshop after about 10 seconds. And if we grab the magnifying glass, we can see that our area is quite detailed here. Grab our hand tool, pull it up, because we've got to get rid of this trailer, this bulldozer, all this, and this. So let's jump straight in. Alright, I use a Wacom tablet. This makes it a lot easier to do things like this. Grab the lasso tool and just grab your trailer. Don't worry about grabbing. I'm going to leave this big tree here because it's pretty cool. Now, if you hit the shift key, it turns the lasso tool into an additional lasso tool. In other words, it'll make several selections. I'm going to leave that tree in there because it's cool. And we're just going to paint around. So I'm going to speed this up and paint around everything. Okay, I want to jump in here during the time lapse or the speed up. If you select an area that you don't want, you can also hit the Alt key, and see how it made the lasso tool a negative? That means it'll take a mask away. So once again, hit the Shift key, make a mask. You don't like it, hit the Alt key and make a mask around it, and it will take it away. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm going to do one more pass with the mask. I've got all the masks that I want to mask out. Go to Edit, ContentAware Fill. Use the sampling brush to add the sampling area to fill the selection region. You're going to get a brush. Let's grab from here and here and right on top of these so we get that darkness. And we need some water. So let's see, let's grab some water from here, here, here. Maybe some from here. Now let's look at our result here in our preview window. And that looks better. Still got a little ghosting. But I'm going to go ahead and hit OK because we're going to clean this up with the stamp tool. Go to select, deselect to get rid of your mask. Now we want to zoom in. Now keep in mind, this has not destroyed your layer. Your original layer is still there. All it's done is it's used the mask to pull up an area. But we're going to clean it up with the stamp tool now. Grab your stamp tool. It's right over here. Clone stamp tool. I like using little brushes. And what you're doing is you make sure you're on the right layer. Now what you can do is keep this layer intact is duplicate it. Just drag it down to the plus tool, and that makes a duplicate layer. Then you can turn your background off, and that way your background is safe. You're not messing it up. Okay, you can take the background copy and erase some edges if you don't like them, but what I do, I just go ahead and combine it. I hit shift and then I right click on the layers I want to merge, and merge layers, and that way I can clone and clean this up in one layer. Hit the clone tool, hit the alt key, and grab a sampling, and you're going to paint over anything you don't like. And I sample all the time. Like right here I'm sampling from there. I'm just going to paint this little dark area out. Right here I'm painting. I'm grabbing a sample from here. And if I do this all on one layer, it makes it a lot easier than trying to remember where the ContentAware layer starts. And I can grab a piece and get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to speed this up, but I'm just grabbing where I want to paint from. Okay, I'm going to grab this tree right here and just continue it down. I'm going to grab this tree right here and just continue it down. Let's see, let's take this forest a little darker right in here. I'm trying to build it up. Now, let's see if we can get rid of this old trailer. We got some reflection in the water here, so I'm going to grab the water right there and just paint over here. I'm going to grab some water here and just paint over this. And you're trying to paint as less as you can. Okay, we got something here. And something there. Oh, I don't like that, so let's go to Edit, Undo. And let's grab the tree right there. Yeah, that looks better. Like I say, this is, if someone's going into your photograph this tight to see, they need a job. Okay, let's look it over. I think that's got it. Yeah, I'm going to take this and brush it out right there. I'm going to take this branch and brush it up. I'm not too happy with this, so let's darken this a little bit. Now, something you can do when you start getting into areas like this is take your opacity of your clone tool down to about 50, and that gives you a more blend, gives it more of a real look. Okay, we're ready to do the ContentAware Fill around the sky area. So we want to choose what we want. Now I'm going to make it kind of jagged up here. I'm going to make it kind of jagged. And then we make sure we're on the right layer. We go to Edit, ContentAware Fill. It's going to pull up the windows here. It's going to tell us about sampling. We're going to grab a sampling of what we want to fill this area with. I'm going to avoid that tree there almost. I'm going to look at it. Looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks fine. I want to show you how to paint a little bit of a tree on that to give it a stem. Let's hit OK. Alright, now let's go to Select, Deselect, and we can give this a better edge. So we're on the layer that we created. We can grab a little brush, like a 9 brush, and just sort of scratch this out to reveal the sky again, to make it look a little more natural. Giving it texture, in other words. Okay, now we need to take this tree down just a little bit. It sort of disappears in here. So I recommend going to this layer. I recommend grabbing your stamp tool, which is right there, your clone tool, We don't want to clone very big. We want to clone about little. Now, first of all, we can zoom in so we can see it a little better. There's a couple of ways this can be achieved. You can actually paint something there, but this is just a real easy way to get a texture. Okay, we're going to grab that. We're going to go to the background copy, and we're just going to paint this branch out on it. And then we can grab some area around it and just sort of paint it up. Sort of paint your happy little tree. And you can even grab a little bit of a dark patch here just to put a little darkness into it. Well, that's on the back layer. Just grab a little darkness. You're just painting a stump back into it using the natural textures of the painting itself. Now you can do the same thing up here. You can say we can clone this little cluster of branches just to fill this little area here. Okay, that's on. Okay, we're going to clone from this layer right there and then paint it onto that layer. Sort of fill that in a little bit and give it a little bit more definition. Now we can clone this tree going up through there. And that looks pretty good. That looks pretty dang good at all. Okay, let's go to View, Fit on Screen, and voila! We have the trailer gone. We've got the space for the power poles gone, and we've got a beautiful masterpiece that we created, and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright, welcome back, boys and girls. That was a complicated content-aware fill sampling. So, I'm going to show you an easier one. We're back in Lightroom, and we're going to get rid of this dog because we are scared to death of dogs. This is a picture I took in Ukraine, 2012, and this dog was nervous. We're going to get rid of him. We're going to go to right-click on the photograph we want to edit in Photoshop. Go to Edit in Photoshop, and I always edit with a copy with Lightroom attachments. You can also edit a copy or edit the original. I recommend editing a copy, and it takes just a few seconds for it to pull it up in Photoshop. Alright, we're back here in Photoshop, and we're just going to jump right in. First thing I do is make sure it's as big as possible. Just go to Fit on Screen. Then I grab the lasso tool, and I'll lasso this dog because we want to get rid of it. We are scared to death of dogs, and we cannot have anyone knowing we took a picture near a dog. Okay, go to background, duplicate it so that you've got an original copy, you're not destructing anything, because Photoshop is destructive. Okay, go to ContentAware Fill. It's going to ask you about the sampling brush. I'm going to take it down with the tab tool, the left tab tool. I'm going to grab some sampling. Now, Photoshop's going to do the best job it can with getting the angle right. The angle here of the building. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Now, you can also when you get back into Photoshop, clean that up, but I think that looks fine. It looks like the dirt's piled up just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and bingo, we've got okay, I see a repeated pattern, so I'm going to grab my stamp tool. I've got a little bitty brush, so I'm going to make it just a little bigger. I'm going to grab, let's say I'm going to grab that wall there. I'm going to paint this out. I'm going to paint some of these stamps out. These looks too repetitive. So stamp them out. Now I've got a 51 opacity brush just because I like painting with textures. Okay, that's on the original layer. That was the stamp that it was repeating. I'm going to go ahead and take this over just a little bit to get rid of this dirt. And once again, you're cloning it from the background copy. If you see, Photoshop doesn't cover up the dog. Well, it does, but with a separate layer. And I'm editing this layer to make it blend with it. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. If you like this video, feel free to smash that subscribe button, click that little bell icon, like this video, leave a comment, give me some of your tips. You know, what do you like about Photoshop? Did you learn anything? And I will see you next time on Joe Knows Stuff TV. Till next time, later.